I think we gon' just keep it real. This is for y'all real people out there. This is for my people, coming from the dirty south. I'm coming from the dirty south. Now y'all fakers, y'all busters. We keep it real. Y'all just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Them real, like them real, keep it real. So all you punk ass motherfuckers, just keep it real. They're out there pretending like they real, and they just some punks. Everybody quiet, please. Quiet, please. Bo, hey Bo, roll another one up, man. If you wanna know the truth,
I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. So stressed.
on my phone.
You wanna know what's next? I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Too much stress. So much stress to pull
Throw
my
your hands
chest.
up. Yo, dog, they just shoot these motherfuckers.
Yo, put down the gun, man. Put down the gun. What's next?
Pulling none of my raps out. No, I can't. Put it on the dance track and make these people dance. Not the 300. No, I can't. Think y'all understand what you're working with and what you're gonna get back? Do what I wanna do. Show your own. Smoke my cigarette to death. Because I'm rip, I roll. Show who's in control. If you wanna do it, everything's allowed.
These live streams are only for educational purpose. We are not financial advisors, so every trade you take based on the ideas shared on the live stream are your own responsibility. So definitely take your time to read the disclaimer before we continue to our live stream session. Welcome everyone, welcome fellow Cryptopians to our weekly crypto analysis live stream session where we continuously will provide value by sharing our weekly analysis and expectations for the upcoming week. So that being said, let's get on it, and if you have any questions, please make sure to put in a comment so we can read and answer your question, okay? So we will continue where we left off last week, and we will continue to what we see happened since our last week's analysis. As expected, guys, our targets are getting closer and closer. Last week, I specifically on our crypto live sessions posted that we can still expect a continuation on crypto in general, right? My target has always been 50k as a crucial area where a lot of decisions will be or are being made. Since our uptrend, after we broke the 32k area, which we have also discussed on our last week's sessions, basically what we expect is that the 50k area is a very important area to be reached and where a lot of decisions will be made. 50k is an area that is crucial for Bitcoin in general because a lot of sell orders have been placed there in the past. This is the zone, this is the area, the origin of the move before, right here. Before we saw a sharp decline in price on Bitcoin. Price absolutely melted after breaking the 50k area, and that was because the last line of defense that was being made by this bullish order block was broken, right? See the confluence between this bullish order block, which got multiple reactions, and whenever this was broken, all buyers left the station, or all buyers were taken out. Because if we have a buyer, we have a seller, right? You can't buy if nobody is selling, or vice versa. You can't sell if nobody is buying. So that being said, once sellers overtook all the buyers in this zone right here, that's when price really started melting, and we immediately follow through to the next order block, following the rules of supply and demand, or following the rules of order flow. Okay, so this was a pretty sharp decline. The thing is, whenever this happens, this gives us evidence. This means this zone right here is where a lot of sellers were involved to drive price from 50k all the way down to 30k. This same area will also likely be very crucial for people that weren't able to sell their Bitcoin at 50k. A lot of the orders left in this zone, in this area, that originated from the big drop, is still there, is still influential. So when price comes back to it, that's where a big decision will be made. Because we will be hitting all those sell limit orders again and drive prices down. The thing that I'm kind of fearful at, or not really fearful, but pretty much placing my bias, is based on the weekly. Remember, each and every time frame has its own analysis. Okay, what I mean by that is when we are looking at the daily, for example, let's say this is the daily time frame, and we have an uptrend, something like this. Always remember that even though price is uptrending, this wave right here, just to put things into perspective, this exact wave, when looked at a different time frame, is actually a giant downtrend, where you would not know that we are uptrending. So basically when we look at, for example, the hourly or the 4 hour, but let's just take it at like the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart would entirely look like this. And if we would zoom in and not look at the daily at all, we would never be able to think we would need to look for a buy in this case. Even though the daily tells us, guys, whenever there's a correction coming, look for a buy. we are looking for sales, we are looking for a discount in price, and then resume the uptrend. But when we would zoom in and go to a smaller time frame, and we would zoom in. Oh, can't completely come back to it. But basically, when we would zoom into to a smaller time frame, we wouldn't see that price is uptrending. We would only see lower highs, lower lows being made. And we would think that we are looking for a correction, but in this case a downtrend, the correction is to the upside, and we are waiting for a continuation to the downside. We would actually be looking to take a trade based to the downside, looking for a short contract, a short position, when we are making money at a decrease in valuation, instead of looking, for example, for a long. Because when we are looking for a long entry, we are taking a trade. Sorry, just having a little bit of trouble with TradingView. But basically what we know is, like, basically when we are looking for a short position, we are making money once price goes down, but we are losing money when price goes up. Vice versa, when we are looking for a buy position or a long position specifically, we are making money on the way up and we are losing money on the way down, just like a regular investor. Okay, basically same thing. So, but actually we would need to be looking for a reversal, because the 1 hour is almost ending and it's gonna result in a continuation to the upside. And that same perspective, that same analogy, or that same concept I'm using on the weekly right now. The weekly saw a very, let me remove some stuff just to make things visually attractive again. But the weekly saw a very sharp decline in price. There was a lot of sell pressure involved by getting us from 50k to 30k. And in this case, we are looking at the bearish order block. The origination of the move, you can call this a supply zone, a bearish order block, the institutional candle, the fuck you candle. We have a lot of different name callings online, on YouTube channels, different courses, but they all originate from the same exact thing. Basically, the bearish order block or the supply zone, or the seller's area, okay? The area where sellers are most dominant, excuse me. So basically on the weekly we have this area that's right now getting tested for the first time. The first reaction is always the most powerful one. The first reaction will give us, or will basically trigger price, all triggering those sell orders, those sell limit orders are still mostly dominant in this area. And that will give us a reaction. There's probably going to be a reaction either way. The thing we don't know is that reaction doesn't always lead into a bearish move. It might just be a reaction proving to be a pullback and then continuing to the upside and then breaking through and then going to higher areas. When are we specifically going to believe the reaction here is valid and it's really a test towards more downside potential and downside levels? When we are currently uptrending, we are making, on the weekly you can't really see that, but we are actually making on the daily, let me remove the stuff here, we are actually making higher highs and higher lows on the daily, doing something like this. And then this reaction, which we will get triggering sell orders, might still be a higher low and then continue. Okay, so when you see, like, that's why also the reason why I don't like candle patterns. And people on this call will definitely follow me on this, because a lot of mistakes are being made by looking at candle patterns or seeing a doji, for example, looking at the hammer, falling hammer, bullish hammer. A lot of people are looking too much at candlestick patterns, but a candlestick pattern is just basically a certain pattern that's happened in like the last hour or in the last 4 hours or in the last daily candle. Okay, it's based on a specific time frame. But that doesn't mean anything, right? We have sellers in this area. I know that, you know that now. We all know there's sellers in this area. But even if we have a lot of buyers, we will still get a reaction. Even if the buyers are stronger than the sellers, at some point in time, we will have more sellers than buyers in a bullish market. Creating a reaction, maybe creating like a fake doji where people are thinking like, oh, we got a reaction which is going to the downside, but then just getting a little bit of sell action, sell pressure, to a zone, mainly a bullish order block, but back to a support zone or a zone where there are a lot of buyers present, where again buyers are most dominant again, getting into that zone and then continuing to break through this seller's area. Okay, so how do we actually know, based on the fact that we don't really know if the first reaction will be a bearish move or just a correction for the continuation? It's basically we're looking at more price action, and basically we're looking at a higher low being broken, or zones where like buyer zones are taken out. So basically right near we have something like this scenario 2, where we see higher highs and higher lows, and we are triggering into them, getting the first reaction back to a demand zone or support, back to the upside, but right now triggering the supply zone created from the correction, and basically right now going down again, maybe even a second attempt, and then boom, where we generally are breaking a previous demand zone or breaking structure, depending how you would look at it, creating a lower low in the process, where we have now validated, okay, this zone, this higher time frame zone was strong enough to basically break our previous bullish zone created by the uptrend that went into the seller zone. So right now we have demand. There was very similar to this wave right here, where we also saw two different tests into the demand zone, after which the zone failed and basically blew up to the downside. So when we have demand failing, then it's where we are looking to sell the market, either taking your profits on a correction to the upside, because don't usually automatically look for a sell when we are breaking support, at least compared to my perspective. A lot of people are always thinking like, okay, we have support and resistance. We call this generally a retail pattern, and you won't see me talking about the fact that these sort of strategies never work. But remember, when we have something like this where price is consolidating, and when we see price here consolidate and really blowing up to the downside, people are generally expecting, or at least retail players are expecting, for price to go up, respect support, and go to the downside. A lot of times this is what we call like a fake out, or like a retail pattern, where your analysis is most likely wrong, or you're using wrong concepts in the market. Unless you really have a lot of experience with using retail patterns, then by all means, if you made them work somehow, then I won't debunk them. I will definitely say like, keep using them. You found the methods of making them work, then stick to it. Okay, if you have not, then you might need to be looking for something else. But basically, the area, the price action that broke support didn't originate from here. It originated from here, all the way up here, where there was a lot of sell pressure willing to sell the market, and it's highly likely that the correction can easily be higher than this and then continue. While a lot of people would be thinking like, oh fuck, this support failed, I have a short area, or I'm looking for a short, for example, I'm out of the trade, support failed, stop loss hits, and I was taking the market to go down. Fuck yeah, it failed. Okay, what do I do now? Okay, price is back above support, I should be looking for a long, and then they are looking for a long area, for a long entry. For example, something like this, right? Because price is back above support, and then, oh fuck, what happened? Hit stop loss again, to only realize that after all, this price action, your initial bias was right, because you had a lower low. It's perfectly fine. You had a lower low, price saw bearish movements, price saw weakness, but you are not in the trade at all. Even worse, you made two bad trades on a good bias. And that's just because you did not understand how trading order flow works, or how the laws of supply and demand works. Basically, how the laws of supply and demand work is basically you have the origin of the move, and anywhere below that origin of the move is the same bias, but it's correctional area. So even if price comes back above support, or at least that you believed was support compared to retail trading methods, is going to be strength again. But all I see is weakness, because we saw a sharp move to the downside, and everything below this area, only if we would be coming back above this area again, then my short bias, or at least my weakness in the markets, would be left. That's only where I would change my bias and would confirm the fact that, okay, I should not be looking for a short entry anymore by making money towards the downside. Okay, so that's a lot of mistakes people make. I don't know if you can find yourself into this type of scenario, but this happens to a lot of people. Okay, because they don't know really how much it works. So basically what I'm telling you guys is that when something like this happens, don't immediately sell the market, don't immediately also take profits on the trade, but wait for the market to come back, and then we will maybe see something like this, and then see a continuation to the downside. If you really want to confirm this continuation to the downside, or want to know where this correction to the upside, which will lead into a further movement to the downside, will end into, if you really want to do that, you can always go to a lower time frame. Identify the uptrend, because yes, this will be an uptrend on a lower time frame, because this is a correctional move to the further downside. But this will be looking like a move like this on a lower time frame. And if you then see something like this happening, that's where the correction has ended. You know what to expect, and you know you need to be looking for a short, because this move right here is going down. So you know the correctional wave is ending. So those are a few ways of basically confirming or improving your confirmation list and basically improving your accuracy. Okay, so that's something I'm specifically looking at on the daily. This is the weekly, so we go to a lower time frame on the daily, and when price shows bearishness, I will be more inclined to believe that this zone is valid right now, and price will be going down. Okay, right now we have no reason to act just yet on that confirmation, because why? Because of the simple fact, do we see any sort of bearishness on the chart right now? We want this wave to become a bearish wave if we would take action on a downside bias. Okay, so that the fact is, right now we're only seeing higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and again higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. No weakness yet, right? Basically what I'm looking at is, if I'm looking at the bullish order blocks, zones where we saw correction and then a continuation, it's right here, a bullish order block, that I would not act on a downside bias yet, and until this zone is broken. We saw a first reaction yesterday on this bullish zone, but unless this zone breaks, I am not inclined to believe, or not inclined to act on the downside bias just yet. This is the most recent zone. I always look at the most recent demand area, because that's where the majority of buyers are at in this bias, or the majority of traders are currently trading, where we're currently at right now. So at the most recent area that I want to see broken. If price will be rallying further to the upside, further, and then doing this into the 50k area, then I wouldn't be looking at this zone as a zone to be broken, or looking to this zone to be broken. I will be moving my demand zone, my bullish order block, and place it right here. Okay, I change my bullish order block all the time. When we are trading back here, my first bullish order block was right here. And I was like, okay, this is the zone that I would like to see being held. Once I saw this might have been like a first sign that this zone is for a potential new trade, or if this is being broken and this is wrong, then I might be changing my bias and looking for continuations to the downside. But we're getting fairly close. This was generally, this is the weekly area, but this is a pretty big weekly area where everything can happen. My first area of resistance, where I'm looking for a change in direction for the market, or at least looking for bearishness, originated from this order block on a daily. Remember, if you're going to a lower time frame, you can usually narrow down your order block a little bit more, even though the larger time frames are still dominant. But in this case, we have the origin of the move right here, where we saw a little bit of consolidation, accumulation of orders, a battle between buyers and sellers. We're going into this area, triggering those sellers because sellers clearly won, because sellers broke to the downside and we haven't retested this area back then. So right now we're going back to this area, 50k, not only a seller's area but also a psychological level. And trust me on this, psychological levels do work. A lot of times when we are looking at uncharted areas, we are noticing that it's not, for example, like on quant, we are noticing that it's not a complete coincidence that we are at the all-time high, but that price just magically happened to be rejecting the $100 area. Why is the $100 area a resistance? Right? Because it's a psychological level. And people are more likely to take profits at a psychological level because they think that's a lot or they think that low. Okay? When Bitcoin was trading at $100 or $200, $300, $1,000 seems like a lot, right? Fuck yeah, when Bitcoin ever reaches $1,000, I'm going to sell it. Then when Bitcoin breaks $1,000 and we are going to $4,000, $5,000, just think how would you react, and you'll probably find yourself in that situation. But basically, if Bitcoin is at $4,000, you would probably tell yourself, if I would really want to buy Bitcoin right now, then $1,000 sounds like a pretty good deal, right? And then when prices are reversing and correcting, and when we are getting close to like $1,000, you would see a lot more buy pressure. So it works like both ways. It works as resistance, it works like support. And that happens a lot on all, basically on all shorts, on all trading pairs, etc., etc. Works a lot. $30 rejecting and going to the downsides. Okay, $10 also rejecting, going to the downside, and then breaking through. Okay, that does not mean these areas will be held forever, but they will initially create a reaction on that fact. Okay, so 50k will definitely be a hurdle. Once 50k is broken and we flip this level, that's a situation, after of course rejecting this area, because we will probably see rejecting, but if we then manage to go break it after all, then I might be inclined to believe that this level has been flipped and we might still, sooner than we expect right now, go to the 100k area. But that's based on information we only know when it's happening. And the information we know today, we don't know that yet, right? We always trade on the information we have today. Tomorrow is tomorrow, today is today, and the day after tomorrow is the day after tomorrow. I can't make trading assumptions, or basically make a trade analysis today that I'm expecting price to be doing the day after tomorrow, right? I can only look at what happened and what's happening today, and then basically make my decisions on that information. Okay, so right now, the thing that I'm seeing is, do I see any signs to short the market or looking to take profits? No, I don't. I see green numbers, which is healthy, and I see price still making higher highs, higher lows. So no reason to be concerned. Okay. Then, if we do see lower highs and lower lows start to get formed, then I will change my bias and then we will take action. And sometimes this includes the fact that we are willing to sell a little bit lower than we are currently at, giving up a little bit more of our profits, but trading with confirmation, than be wrong at the first attempt. Because sometimes I am like, guys, we're at 50k, don't sell yet. When we are coming down here, and then a few days after, when we are trading, I'm like, yo, I see the bearish signs, sell right now. And people are like, why did you ever advise me to sell right now at 45k when I asked you a couple of days ago at 50k? Because 50k would definitely be a better sell area to take profits. If we know this information, right? Only if we know the information we know right now. But without us knowing, we could easily also be going up, going down, starting again, and eventually breaking through, and you selling too early at 50k, and we would go all the way to 100k, and the profit you would be losing is a lot higher than the loss on profits you're getting from selling a little bit lower. So that's the scenario we would like to avoid. And we know trading is all based on statistics. Getting an advantage from a statistical perspective. I am not right all the time, neither is no one. No one is. but we take a statistical approach on our strategy, on what we do, and then we get a profit out of it. Okay? And based on the statistical fact that I would see right here, based on the price action I see happening in this POI, this point of interest, okay, the point of interest, or just supply zone in this case, where sellers are mainly dominant, based on this fact, we might go down, but once I see what I want to see happening, okay, something like this, when we go in, go down, go in again, maybe even see a liquidity spike, who knows. And eventually, oh, that's it. And then I'm looking for something like this, right? Because we broke structure. And we maybe see a small Wyckoff schematic in here. Don't be alarmed if you don't know Wyckoff. I'm not gonna overcomplicate these things. Thing that I do remember, guys, if you're on these calls, remember we are sharing our weekly analysis. But a lot of newbies or new people will definitely be confused with the facts that what is an order block? What is a bullish order block? What is a bearish order block? What is a Wyckoff schematic? What is a supply zone? What is a demand zone? What is support? What is resistance? What are higher lows, higher highs? Keep in mind that we teach these things in our Artist Academy that's going live at the beginning of next year, normally, if everything goes according to plan. But we have been working on our academy for a long time right now. Our development even started last year, okay? So if we're going live next year, then we will almost be working 2 years on our academy, with a lot of different traders selected from the best of the best, people that have a lot of experience, with more than 5 years usually, inside their niche. Basically for me, for example, I got more than 5 years experience in crypto, but other people, for example, are chosen because they have more than 5 years experience in Forex, so they are giving Forex live sessions. And then with a test, of course, to show that they can trade, and then they are sharing their analysis ideas and teaching you guys the methods we use on our current live streams, right? So don't worry, guys, and whenever you want to feel more comfortable or you want to learn in the future more about the strategy we use, the concepts that we use, and the terminology that we use, then yeah, it will eventually be the smart thing to do, that you apply and subscribe to the academy, so you can pretty much do everything for yourself. Because at the end of the day, Artist Academy wants to create independent traders, okay? Traders who can make well-informed, educational, informative decisions all on their own, right? So when we break this area right here, I'm expecting a retracement, and I'm willing to catch it on the retracement to the downside, and I will also take a few of my profits from the trades I have taken and from my investments. Okay, so that's something I'm looking into this zone. Ethereum, as discussed earlier, has already hit our initial target, which looks very similar to the target that's being made on Bitcoin at the supply zone. Ethereum is already tapping into that area, but again, also looking for bearishness inside this area before I will take a decision based on a downside bias. Okay. Thank you, Sola, Ilori. I appreciate it. As always, guys, if you enjoy these sessions, if you like to learn more about cryptocurrency, or if you really enjoyed these sessions, always make sure, especially to friends, for example, that you also know are involved in the cryptocurrency space or in the trading community. Always make sure that if you really want to, remember, you are not obliged to do so, but if you really want to, make sure you share these sessions to your friends, leave a like or your notifications on, and subscribe. Okay, that's the only thing you can do. These live streams are completely free, so basically the only thing you can do to really help us in a positive and have a positive impact on it is basically by sharing our sessions. Okay, so we can continue to give these live streams on YouTube for free. Okay, so that's being said, so on Ethereum, our target has been hit. I'm not looking to create any trade on Ethereum at all, especially from a trading aspect, because yeah, we are in a danger zone. We're in a zone where we are too high to be looking for buys, right? The buys are being made right here, not here at the accumulation phase. Buying right here would be buying high. I would not recommend that. However, selling right now would also not be the good call. Why? The daily is bullish, the weekly is in a bearish zone. So basically what this means is this right here is bullish, so no signs of sellers, but this is bearish, a lot of signs of sellers. So we are going into a seller zone with bullish momentum on the daily, and we always want to have these two time frames or these two perspectives to align. If we want to take a sell based on the long-term sell area, then we need to see sellers on the daily momentum on a smaller time frame. We want to see this wave right here become bearish, right, where we see this thing goes up and then see this thing go down and take action on this wave. Okay, because only then do we see the downside bias of the weekly aligning with the daily. Vice versa, the daily is bullish right now, right? The daily is telling us you should only be looking for bias, because when I zoom in, and what if I did not see this zone? If I'm zooming in right now, what do I see? Should I be looking for a sell right here anywhere? Of course I shouldn't. Look at the markets. Higher highs, higher lows. Only buys. I should not be looking to create a sell at all. Or I should not be looking to take profits at all as well. Because this is clearly insanely bullish right now. Which when we would zoom in, then things start to shift and things start to change. So if you would take a buy right now, then I will gladly look for trades higher, even buying higher than we currently are, because then right now, if you're taking a buy right now, this can happen. But if you're taking a buy at like 3.6k, for example, then you have a lot less bias, downside bias potential, and you look for continuation. Because this is like basically the support that's being formed based on the fact what's happening right here, with a lot less bias. Because when you would take a trade on this factor, for example, you would take a long position, something like this, with a stop loss below the accumulation phase that's happening in this area to the upside, right? You're not risking a lot. But remember, if you're buying right now, this is your trade. You're buying to the upside with like maybe a first target of like $5,000 based on a psychological fact. But remember, the origin of the move started all the way down here, and yeah, your stop loss is pretty large, right? And we want to avoid that. So I will gladly buy a little bit higher, where I'm only risking a little small amount of money for a further continuation, then I'm risking a very large amount of money. Okay, so right now I will gladly buy a little bit higher if need to, because we're in a confirmation area and we want to see this level flip. This level needs to be flipped in order to be looking for continuations, because this is a supply area. Okay, and then we have then these areas align, because then we know, okay, the weekly turned bullish, the daily was already bullish. So daily and weekly are bullish. What do we need to do? Of course, we buy. Because both time frames are sharing the same analysis. They are both saying you should buy right now. But if daily right now is telling me you should buy right now, but if weekly is telling me you should potentially maybe selling right now, because we're entering a seller's area, and I'm like, okay, daily is telling me buy, weekly is telling me sell. They're telling me something different. So, and I'm not trading with a 50-50, right? I want to have confirmation. I want to have a decent amount of accuracy in my trades. I would like to do same thing like Ripple. Ripple, this was an area where I would not be looking to buy. You could buy down here, because down here, when we created the breakers, or when a bearish order block was being broken, that was the first sign when we could expect a buy. Okay, we went up, down, down, up, down, and saw a continuation. Okay, then when we would go rallying from 50 cents to like 80 cents, I would not recommend people be buying in this area, because this is a seller's area on the daily. But I would gladly advise them, instead of buying at 80 cents after confirmation, you should maybe right now buy at like 90 cents. And yes, 90 cents is higher than 80 cents. So that would seem like a less profitable buy, but more confirmation, and in the long run you will be more profitable. So right now again, also on Ripple, I'm looking for the same exact thing. We're getting closer to the higher areas. So this is a seller's area on the daily, where price might potentially, if it would really be bearish, and if Bitcoin would be breaking down to the downside again, then this could definitely happen. Because we have downside potential, guys, especially for those that don't want to see it. I'm not want to burst your bubble. I don't want to sound too bearishly, but remember, last year we went all the way before the corona, during the corona pandemic, we created a bearish wave towards 4 to 3k. We went up, we went to 10k, a little bit higher, 12k, retesting 10k. But remember, we saw a large move to the upside happening from this area. Does that mean we will ever go to this area? Probably not. I personally do not think so. But the fact is that all of this is still potential correction methods. So that means 25k, 20k, 15k. It wouldn't sound impossible. And I'm asking you to have a neutral bias. Don't marry a bias. Trade on what you see. Don't think that because Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is a bullish technology and will likely go up even more in the future, do not think that it will not follow the rules of supply and demand and order flow. Even a technology needs large-scale corrections, especially if we saw large-scale expansions, large-scale bullish price movement. When you see something like this, it would be naive of us to think, when we see correction, only this can happen. And we're going to 100k and we're going to 1 million, and price never stabilizes, and price never consolidates, and price never comes back largely, only like small corrections. You know, eventually, it's entirely possible that price comes back largely, maybe to 20k for example, and then resumes and then goes sees higher highs. Because these are the daily higher highs and higher lows, but then this will just be like a weekly higher high and higher low. Same thing, like I will use a reference to like the biggest chart we currently have on Bitcoin, which is the Brave new coin liquid index for Bitcoin, which is basically the entire history of Bitcoin. Weekly perspective, for example, we saw the large bear market a couple of years ago, bringing us all the way from 20k to 3k. This seems like, holy fuck, how did that happen? But that's just, if we would look at the monthly, that's just like a very small higher low, because we have a low right here, a higher low, and it was just the monthly saying, yo, we have been rallying so strongly, we need to take a little bit of back, because if no one is if this thing doesn't correct, nobody is earning money right now, and that's the reality of things. When things are doing that like this, it means no one is earning money. That sounds kind of controversial, right? Because you would look at your portfolio, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and everybody in the world is looking at his portfolio. Holy shit, I'm in an insane amount of profit. But do you know how much people are making a profit right now? Almost no one, but because the only moment you are earning money on your portfolio is the moment you sell or take profits. If you did not sell your portfolio at 5,000, then it doesn't matter. If I see my investments going from $1,000 to even 1 million, I was never a millionaire if prices start reversing and if the bull market is over, and if I see price coming back, for example, to like 50k. Yes, I'm gonna end up being profitable, but I was never a millionaire. The only thing that matters is when I bought and when I sold. Anything in between does not matter at all. And the moment somebody is selling, will create like a domino effect, and then it all depends like who sold first. Did you sell first, or did your neighbor sell first? And when this thing turns around, then yeah, where were you selling, and how much profit did you make? Remember, you were never You were never like a millionaire, or you never earned like 50k or 10k or 12k, doesn't matter how much you made, you never made it. Because if people were making money, we would be doing like this. And that's something I well informed a lot of people at when we're currently going up, and going up right here again. Eventually we will need to correct ourselves, and then we saw the large scale correction to 30k, and right now it's a fact like, okay, will we be doing this, or is this just a correction of the even bigger bull run? In the end of the day, I think we will see even lower price than 30k. I generally do believe that, but it's also possible that I believe that this is a small correction first, going to 100k, and then eventually going to like 20k, 15k maybe. Okay, that's the thing I'm concerned about. I personally definitely believe we will go lower than 30k. The thing that I just don't know is like, is this the correction of a further down wave, or is this a small correction to higher targets, and then eventually someday the larger scale correction towards lower areas? Okay. Because on the daily, I think even Bitcoin, you will see a lot of stuff like this being made, where we are seeing prices coming back. Large scale correction, 20k towards 60k. Very similar, right? See how the similarities ends, how you could see that price might still go down. We went from 60k to 30k, 50% decline in price. 20k, 10k. Consolidating, yeah, this is just a small correction, and the whole world was saying small correction. Going back to supply levels. Holy shit, jeez. So don't ignore the fact that this could happen. And people who don't know any better, at least retail people, oh, this was a generally market manipulation fake out, because we broke the resistance, we should have been uptrending. No, this was the resistance at all. The origin of the move was based on the fact that it was right here. This was the real resistance. Anything below this, and we had broken structure, was bearish territory. And we could see a further move to the downside. So this is a potential scenario that I'm looking at. Okay, and the 4 hour would have, I can't go to the 4 hour right now because this is the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. It doesn't have a short-term time frame, but basically on a smaller time frame I would have seen the reversal right here inside the POI. But that's something where I will draw the similarities between Bitcoin back then and right now. So as you can see, it's better for us to take a neutral stance, a neutral bias, so we can anticipate what is happening, and then afterwards you wouldn't be telling us like, but everybody on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram was telling me to the moon, to 100k, to 200k, and we're going to 1 million all at once, and everybody is going and everybody is getting rich, or is gonna get rich. Okay, my advice is don't listen to many of those people online. Some people do know what they're talking about. I won't ignore the fact that that happens, but there are also a lot of fake gurus, people making videos that are only brand new, maybe even only 6 months involved in the cryptocurrency space, never experienced a previous bull and bear cycle before. I personally already witnessed two, so I was there at the previous bull and bear cycle, and I was there at the other one before that. Not the bear one, but I saw the bull cycle. Okay, and then I saw the bear cycle, bull cycle again, bear cycle again, etc, etc. Okay, so Ripple right now, to continue on the session guys, Ripple right now, we see a continuation on the fact that we're hitting higher regions, looking for bearish movement right now. No bearish movement at all, so no really reason to be looking for sells to the downside. Rune, this was my first target at $10, because $10 psychological level, and also a small supply zone right here, so $10 could definitely somewhere along the lines right here could definitely prove to be a hurdle, or we'll be looking to take some profits on this region. Did we already hit $10? No, we hit $9.50. Okay, this was a trade I took last week, so we'll remove that from now, because that trade is just running as it should be doing, but the trade has already been taken. Rune actually has a little bit of more room to the upside, so they could definitely go higher and revisit these supply zones past the $15 area. But if Bitcoin is gonna go down and is gonna make a lower high on the weekly and is going to go downtrend again, then Rune is going to go down as well. Basically, every altcoin is going to go down at that point in time. Link also hitting an important target. That's also we will also have to look out for resistance or remove this. This was a zone from the past. VeChain moving tremendously. Sorry guys, this was also a trade I had taken I think 2 weeks ago. But there's also a trade that was already being taken, so we'll remove the fact because this already happened and the people on this call have no added benefit of seeing that trade, because yeah, it was a trade that's already been taken. But we're getting higher and higher, and this is an important seller's area, an important supply zone. So if we see a bearishness in the daily, then we will act on it. But right now, do we see any type of bearishness? No. Only looking bullish, and we want the daily to shift as well. Trias, absolutely phenomenal coin. Pretty much we saw the confirmation on the new uptrend. This was also something that I drew a few days ago. But basically the big confirmation on Trias was made on the fact of following market structure. Remember, we have two potential origin of the moves. We want to see a continuation on the upside on the real long term. So on the weekly, we see an uptrend, right? We see a large scale up move, a retracement, and then potentially a new up move as well. On the daily, we want to see where the origin of the move on this big move happened. We see one right here, and we see one down here. This one eventually got a reaction, but failed in the end. Was overtaken and broke down to even further downward levels. We tapped this level, went up, created some type of resistance right here that was being made by the bearish order block that originated from this zone, creating sellers, okay, in this area. But if you want to make a resistance out of it, do it like this. Then we broke structure because the lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, equal highs. That lower high structure was broken. So basically that full confirmation was being met right here. So yeah, Trias pretty bullishly, and we can expect more bullish movement going towards the $14 area as long as Bitcoin remains stable. It either needs to go up or it needs to consolidate. Okay, consolidation is also fun. When Bitcoin consolidates, altcoins have a lot of room to grow as well. When Bitcoin goes up, they also have room to grow, but when Bitcoin goes down, then things are starting to get very, very tricky. Okay, KuCoin also, that's being shared a few weeks ago. KuCoin, I'm very bullishly biased on KuCoin. I like them very much fundamentally on the long term. KuCoin is very much an undervalued exchange that's releasing a lot of important stuff. The daily downtrend basically got finished and confirmed on that reversal, on the fact that we broke previous structure. We were breaking highs, go down. So basically what I currently already expected was that this wave to the downside will only be a correction and will lead into a further wave to the upside. To confirm the fact, I was looking at this wave right here, the correctional wave right here, painting bearish structure. This wave right here was first looking as bearish as it can be, and I want higher time frame to align with the lower time frame. So lower time frame, once I saw the reversal and saw the lower time frame making higher highs and higher lows, so basically instead of doing like up, 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 it's right now doing up, 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 up. So you want something like this, right? The lower high structure being broken, also lower lows, lowest low, higher lows, okay? That's something I did eventually see, so I took action on that. So after we made the breaker, we went up. It's not as performing as well as other coins in terms of percentual gains, but it's doing slow and steady. And that's all I can ask for. VRA, Also something which was confirmed by me, the fact that we broke structure. And right now I pretty much got like a 25 cents area target. Or not 25 cents, but basically 0.025. Also doing quite well. Quant might be doing a bullish run soon towards $200. Quant fundamentally is an incredible project. Noya I'll also like a lot. Noya. And that was based on the fact that we have lower high structure. See where the confirmation comes from? We have been uptrending for a very long time. We go to a small correction, which is believed to be, well, a small downtrend, which is believed to be a correction from the long-term perspective, because fundamentally they are very strong. Fundamentals line up to the upside eventually. We see this wave changing structure. We see it changing bias from a downside bias to an upside bias. We break structure right here, so we go up. Okay, this is a resistance like a seller's area, like on Bitcoin, which could be further move to the downside depending on what we see in this area, or if we go into there and we do eventually manage to break that area and break through the resistance, for example, and see like something like this, then we can expect a continuation, because we have flipped these levels and we can expect full bull mode to be in. But that will likely align with the fact on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin breaks 50k and sustains it, you will see new higher highs, all-time highs, and most of the coins will as well see all-time highs. Mina, glad to see Mina doing well as well. Again, if you're doubting if psychological levels work, Mina launched at a listing price of $10. Yes, it's that good. It's that good of a project. All the way down, up, $5 rejected, up to $3, $2, $1, and boom, right now at $3, and even more. So yes, psychological levels do work and technical analysis do work to some extent, but eventually fundamentals even work more. Solana, even currently when Bitcoin is not hitting all-time highs yet, Ethereum is not hitting all-time highs yet, basically the majority of the market's not making all-time highs yet, Solana is, as because there's so much building going on Solana. There are applications being made on Solana. It's basically, together with Polkadot, the only project that rivals Ethereum in terms of usefulness. In terms of competitors, they're not real competitors. I think they will coexist with each other. I think Ethereum will coexist with Polkadot and will coexist with Solana. For people that are wondering, yes, Cardano is also a competitor of Ethereum, but I do not think by a very large margin. Even though the value of Cardano is high, I think it's more being made by good marketing than by real usefulness, because Cardano is doing phenomenally well, but I personally do not think it will last, because I think Cardano is a little bit overvalued right now. I'm not saying it's a bad coin, especially for the fans out there, not a bad coin at all, but it's currently top 3 and they don't even have smart contracts yet. Smart contracts means applications building on top of Cardano. Ethereum has been used to be built on for years, already has thousands of applications. Cardano has zero applications. There are coming applications, like they are launching them, they are putting in the work, but it has taken them 4 years to really release something decent, while other projects do that in 3 or 4 months. Even Polkadot, Solana are currently being used to build stuff on, and then we see Cardano, top 3 coin right now, with taking 3 to 4 years to release a mainnet. Like I said, guys, I'm not here to debunk you of your theories. I'm not here to debunk you of your of your fan projects, because everyone is entitled to do his or own thing. I'm just keeping a neutral bias. I'm just looking at the facts. And I always tell people, if you want to change my bias, because sometimes that's something I notice, sometimes the crypto community can be quite toxic. And why is that? Because everybody has his own agenda. When you are heavily, or when somebody of your friends is heavily invested in, let's say, like XRP, and you tell them like, yeah, because of these reasons, I don't really believe in XRP in them anymore, sometimes they get mad. And what all of us are doing is we all want to make money in this space. I do too, you do as well. If XRP really looked that great to me, for example, as an example, right guys, then I would put my money in it as well, right? I'm not here to basically tell somebody like, yo, you shouldn't do that, you should do that. But basically, you will get a lot of hate sometimes for debunking people their dreams, even if you make valid arguments. Change that, and always are open to listen to the voice of reason. When somebody tells me, Alicia, yeah, I appreciate your feedback on ADA. I know more information than you do, and that's definitely possible because, yeah, I know a lot about crypto, but there are currently 10,000 coins in existence. I know what to do, I know how to analyze things, but that does not mean I know literally everything about every coin out there. I know what ADA is about, I know what they are doing, I know what they are releasing, but there's always some stuff that I'm missing. Because I can't follow up on every coin. Even this list right here is quite large, and that's only like 10 or 20 tokens out there. So yeah. So Cardano, if somebody tells me, keep an open mind, and if somebody tells me, oh yeah, they are doing this and that, and no, this is revolutionary, then I would gladly say, oh yeah, I was wrong. You're right. Maybe I should look into it. See, so don't immediately get too mad about things. But like I said, for me, Cardano, based on the facts that I know, based on my fundamental analysis, and if you want to know someday what fundamental analysis is or how to perform a fundamental analysis, this is like only a sneak peek, guys, compared to what you will see in the Artist Academy. No, I got too much things like on me, for example. But basically, what I do is I have a full checklist, which will be featured in the Artist Academy, a full checklist where people are getting a full course, a full guide on how to basically do a checklist, what to look out for, and basically how to analyze these things. We have a full checklist on like goal, team, white paper, roadmap, releases, competition, partnerships, tokenomics, coin supply, community, real world use case, and market cap. I know how to analyze these things, the majority of the people do not, but that's something you will learn someday when we go live, and you will see. And based on those factors, I make a fundamental analysis and make my bias. Like, okay, is it worth being invested into this thing? And if yes, is it better than other projects? Sometimes I still don't invest in a good project. Why? Because I think there's a better one out there, and I don't want to invest in 100 of those. If I have 20 good tokens, but if I only want to invest in 10 of them, then I'm selecting the 10 best ones, right? Instead of all the 20 good ones. Because I believe, okay, this project 20 will earn me like 50% increase on my allocation, or basically on my initial investments. But if project like 10 might be able to make me like 80%, then I'm going to go for 80%, right? If I believe the other project is going to go harder than the other one. Okay? I think I pretty much confirmed this. Dots also has some more upside potential. Also, for example, an area I'm looking at for a day trade. If, like, that's how you day trade, by the way, guys. How you trade on the long term and how you trade on the short term is basically the same thing. Same strategy, same analogy. But in this case, when I'm taking a small day trade, I'm not looking to go hit a higher time frame target. I'm looking for a quick trade. I'm potentially looking at the 4 hour for reversal areas. I'm going to the 1 hour. Okay, what is 1 hour doing? This is a re-entry area. What the entry is doing like this. Oh, we broke structure. For example, 1 hour. We broke a previous bearish order block, for example. And then you can take a small long area, because you broke structure right here with a stop loss based on the order blocks and based on the high lows being formed along right here, and take it as high as you want it to. Small quick trades, get in, get out for a few hours, or max like 1 or 2 days. okay? But that's short-term trading. Usually because we do these live streams each and every week, I'm more looking at the long-term perspective for you guys on what you can expect and how you can analyze on the long term. Why? Because our crypto analysis Mondays happen on Monday. Once every seven days. And on Friday, we are doing crypto education days. And that's not live trading, that's basically how to understand the crypto market and how to do stuff. How exchanges work, how a wallet works, decentralized wallets, for example, right? Decentralized exchanges, Binance, KuCoin, centralized exchanges, and so on and so on. Guys, I hope you had a lot of knowledge. I hope you had some perspective on these charts. As always, guys, I would like to finish this. If you like the value that we share, make sure you share it with your friends. And if you don't want to miss our future live sessions or other YouTube content we currently have, because we also have other YouTube content like Forex sessions. If you're interested in Forex, for example, now please make sure you are subscribed and of course have your notifications on. Alright? I wish you guys a good trading week and I will see you on next session, right? Either on Friday on the educational sessions or only on Monday if you're more interested in looking at the charts and looking at what's going to happen in the crypto market. Guys, good luck and bye-bye. Cheers.